The chill of November is greeted with great enthusiasm by the faithful here in Iowa City. The Hawkeyes have established a tradition of dominance in November. And today they get their field general back from injury to face a feisty band of Wildcats from Evanston. Northwestern and Iowa coming up next. Kinnick Stadium has a new renovated look. However, the tradition of Iowa football is embraced in the new. We're at Iowa City, a capacity crowd filing in. The Northwestern Wildcats take on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Hi, everybody. Wayne Larrabee along with Kelly Stauffer. Great to have you with us this afternoon. You know, Iowa's made a habit of running through the month of November to a January bowl game. Today they get their signal caller back, and that should help a lot in making that run.
You're absolutely right. Getting Drew Tate back is essential for that November run. They need him healthy. He's really the personality for this team. He's the guy, and that guy needs to be healthy, productive, and accurate down the stretch.
The Northwestern Wildcats will kick to the Iowa Hawkeyes. There's a look at Drew Tate. He's battled through injuries this season. We've got what you might expect in November. Temperature about 45 degrees. And a little blustery here today. It was cold last night. Had a little rain in the air. But at any rate, ready to go. And boy, they love November football here. Opening kickoff. Deep into the end zone. Damian Sims will down it, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Iowa Hawkeyes. The quarterback and the heart and soul of this offensive football team, the senior from Baytown, Texas, Robert E. Lee High School, Drew Tate. He's missed a couple of games this season. Most recently, he had surgery on his left thumb to repair ligament damage. It's his non-throwing hand, but nonetheless, he did not play last week in the victory over Northern Illinois. 1st down for the Iowa Hawkeyes. A little safe pass, look-in pass to the big tight end, and Scott Chandler's got a 1st down. Deontay Battle made the tackle. 12-yard gain, the Iowa offense. The skill position players, well, you saw the big target, of course, in Scott Chandler. Dominique Douglas is one of the best true freshman receivers in the country. Albert Young's return from injury should help as well down the stretch. Richardson, Jones, Elgin, Olsen, and Yanda, the front wall for Iowa. Very physical front line per usual. 1st and 10, Young, a nice hole to run through, and he's got yardage out to the 40-yard line. Reggie McPherson made the tackle, a gain of 8. Defensively for Northwestern, Hahn and Gill are solid inside. Wooten's a playmaker on the outside. The linebackers are missing Nick Roach. Their leading tackler broke his bone in his leg against Michigan State. He's out for the season. In the secondary, Sherrick McManus is a true freshman, and they are really high on his ability. 2nd down and 2 for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Young in motion. Tate with plenty of time, broke it up beautifully. Well-timed hit by Sherrick McManus as he denied the completion to the true freshman Dominique Douglas.
We talked about Drew Tate. His latest injury is the left thumb, and he's going to have a plastic splint. It's covered by that glove we see right there. Supposedly during practice, the only problem he really had was handing the ball to the right, where you have to secure it just in that left hand. We'll keep an eye on that, but it's not going to affect the right-handed thrower.
Iowa Hawkeyes, 7th of the Big Ten, 38% on 3rd downs, 3rd and 2. Moiaki on the wing. Young gets the call. Nice hole off the left side of the offensive line. He's got a 1st down to the Hawkeye 45-yard line. McPherson, the safety, made the stop of the play. Richardson and Jones on the left side appear to open up a nice hole.
And Wayne, in setting the table for the Hawkeyes, we talked about Drew Tate being banged up with injuries with that left thumb. But it's really been an offensive line that's been banged up, missed a lot of time. Albert Young has been out of a couple of games. Right now, Wayne, they seem to be getting healthy at the right time.
Richardson missed a couple of games at left tackle due to injury earlier this season as well. From the eye, Tate off play action, chased by Wooten, and the pass wide of the mark, incomplete. Good play by Corey Wooten, the young defensive end. Followed his assignment to a tee. The American Century Investments game plan for both teams.
Well, Wayne, Northwestern has to respect the football. That's Fitzgerald's term for it. Keep track of the football. Be opportunistic. Any loose ball needs to go in Northwestern's favor. In Iowa, they need to sort out the looks that they'll get defensively and then play Iowa-style football. Low penalties, be efficient and effective, and methodically move the ball down the field.
2nd down and 10. Young change of direction. Cadella makes the hit, gain of 2 to the 47, and the Hawkeyes are facing another 3rd down. On this, the opening drive of the game. Pat Fitzgerald is in his first season as head coach of the Northwestern Wildcats. As a player, he was part of one of the great turnaround stories in college football to the mid-90s. The Wildcats, the rise of the purple, all the way out to Pasadena. Gary Barnett was the head coach back then. And they've had a respectable football program ever since. And Fitzgerald was an All-America linebacker, Defensive Player of the Year. Tate on 3rd down again has lots of time. Ever elusive, looking to make a play. Out of bounds in Northwestern territory, 48-yard line, a gain of 5 short of the 1st down. Kevin Mims forced him out. 4th down.
Northwestern doing a very nice job on the first 3rd and long situation. Drew Tate has that ability, Wayne. Buy enough time with your feet. He didn't get a lot of help from his receivers down the field on that particular down.
Andy Fenstermaker is placed 11 inside the 20-yard line. Dropping back deep is Brendan Smith. Good high punt. Smith tracking it near the 10. Tried to deke the coverage unit, and he did. He made like he was going to catch it at the 10-yard line. Everybody kind of backed off a little bit. Then that punt hit near the 5 and caromed into the end zone. 48-yard punt. Northwestern will start at the 20-yard line. The Wildcats did not play bad at all in that loss to Michigan. They played pretty resolute for a team that had just come off a game in which they blew a 35-point lead. C.J. Bachér making his 3rd start at quarterback. Has his team up to the line of scrimmage, 1st down. Northwestern running the spread offense. Bachér, good protection. Going deep, and the pass overthrown, but contact made in the deep secondary by Bradley Fletcher. On the intended receiver on that play, Ross Lane.
I think the official definitely is going to call pass interference, but that ball was airmail.
Pass interference, 29. Defense, 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic, 1st down.
This didn't look like it was even in the neighborhood, Wayne. And you talk about a catchable ball. Bashay's going to go to the post, coming in on your right side right there. But look how far that ball is down the field. It's not only down the field, but it's over to the right.
I thought maybe when I saw it, illegal contact downfield, perhaps. But it's pass interference, 1st down from the 35 of Northwestern. Good look over the middle, decisive throw to Sean Herbert, the leading receiver. A senior out of Oxon Hill, Maryland. 9-yard gain. Klinkenborg made the stop. Here's a look at the Northwestern backs and receivers. Tyrell Sutton has been playing through injury this season. He's a playmaker. The offensive line has struggled, especially the interior trio. Dylan Theory, Ryan Keenan will have to hold up against good defensive ends for the Hawkeyes. 2nd down and short. They'll try to get the ball to Sutton in space if they can. This is not one of those situations. Sutton pile driving through a sliver of an opening, and he gets enough for the 1st down on a gain of 2 to the 46-yard line. Mitch King, the interior tackle, made the stop. And let's take a look at this rugged Iowa defense. Canella's been playing through injury this season as well. Missed the Illinois game due to an appendicitis. In the linebacking corps, they've always had good linebackers here. Klinkenborg is another one of those. And in the secondary, Adam Shada is out. Bradley Fletcher is in at the quarterback spot, and Northwestern will probably try to take advantage of that. Football just short of the 47-yard line of the Wildcats. Four-man rush. Bachér with time. incomplete. Not sure if Edmund Miles got a piece of that pass intended for Tyrell Sutton. Let's check with Mike Gleason for a Sports Center. Team was so impressive a week ago, trying to follow up that win and become bowl eligible this week. Bachér going deep, got a man out there, and it's caught inside the 10, down to the 5. It's Andrew Brewer. 48 yards, and Brewer is a quarterback on this team. Pat Fitzgerald said of him this week, he said, we're going to get Andrew Brewer out there running some slot receiver type action because he's too good an athlete to be standing next to me.
They call it the slash package, and Brewer is in that bunch right there that is eventually going to get over the top running the post. The protection was tremendous because that was late developing, but Brewer does a good job of continuing to work down the field.
First and goal at the 5. Sutton fakes the reverse, going wide, gets the corner to the end zone. Touchdown! The Northwestern Wildcats on the board first. An impressive first drive for Northwestern's offense. Pat Fitzgerald reveling in it.
Exactly the start that Northwestern needs. Anything positive to happen early for this team is essential.
You know, Kelly, watching their game at Michigan last week, you would not have the impression that this Northwestern team had cashed it in, that it was a lost season, they weren't going bowling. They've just been blown a 35-point lead the week before to Michigan State on the wrong side of the greatest comeback in Division 1A history. In Michigan, they fought, they played hard, they had 5 turnovers in that game, but they were in it all the way. And here today, they start very crisply, 5 plays, 80 yards. One quarterback to another. Brewers sets up the Northwestern Wildcats at the doorstep, and Sutton walks on through for the lead. Wayne Larrabee, Kelly Stauffer, welcome back. Good start for the Northwestern Wildcats on the road. 5 plays, 80 yards. They came from behind in this game against Iowa a season ago to nip the Hawkeyes. The Wildcats scored 14 points in the final 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Damian Sims on the return. Out across the 20-yard line to about the 22, and he's getting tackled right there. Malcolm Arrington led the way. Let's go back to the setup to that touchdown.
Well, Brewer is right here, and he's going to eventually work himself down in a post crossing the field, but it's the protection really that makes this play. Look at all the time Bachér has to throw. He wasn't thinking downfield Wayne early. He was thinking the crossing route underneath, but heck, if you have that much time, why not take a look deep?
So it is first down for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Football now at the 22-yard line, Hawkeye territory. Tate off a long count. Young for about 3 yards to the 25-yard line. Wooten out in front of the play at defensive end, the principal defender. And flowing to the football very well, Adam Cadella, the linebacker. He and Demetrius Eaton now pairing up with Eddie Simpson.
Wayne, what I was going to have early is their wide receivers in particular are going to have to get in the mix. Northwestern doesn't want Scott Chandler, number 87, the tight end, to dictate this game, force Iowa's wide receivers to get it done.
Second down. Tate, lots of time. Coverage has been pretty good downfield the last couple of pass attempts by Tate. He had lots of time to find a receiver, none open. Grigsby, the intended receiver, on that aerial out of bounds, but really Tate was just throwing it away. So third down for the Iowa Hawkeyes. As I mentioned, they came in 7th in the league in third down offense. Northwestern 7th in third down defense, giving up 39% on third downs. Iowa today 1 of 2 in the early going. Tate hit from behind, down he goes, back inside the 25-yard line. My goodness. David Ngeni, the defensive end, able to get the corner and hit Tate from behind. It's 4th down.
And once again, you can see him just coming off the edge, and Guinea's going to get around very quickly. And Richardson, 78, is back out there at left tackle. He's been dinged up, and he looked just a little bit slow off the ball that time.
Fenstermaker with his second punt of the day. Brendan Smith back deep. Good leverage into this kick. Smith, fair catch signal. Penalty marker is down. Smith makes the catch near the 29-yard line of Northwestern. Penalty marker down back of the Northwestern 48. 48-yard punt on that play. Todd Gearlings is the official we'll be hearing from.
Wow. And one of the things that is a staple of Iowa football is the lack of penalties, and actually they just reversed the call, and it's going to go against Northwestern.
Return team, number 22. 10 yards from the end of the run. It will be first down.
Deontay Battle out there on the flank of that.
I think penalties, Wayne, in the end are going to play an important role.
Northwestern, the least penalized team in the Big Ten. They're up by 7 in the early going.
Welcome back, everybody, and it was number 22, Deontay Battle, that was called for the hold. He's blocking number 13 from Iowa, Charles Godfrey, the gunner, and it's just the right hand right here at the end. Actually, the left that grabs the shoulder pad. That's what they called. Initially signaled against Iowa, but it was definitely a hold on 22.
First and 10 from the 21. Leaping attempt made, but out of bounds. Ross Lane could not get a foot in bounds on the far side. Second and 10 coming up for Northwestern.
Wayne, I noticed in the game last week against Michigan, when Bachér has to move just a little bit, his accuracy went way down. And that was an example of it right there, moving to his right and the ball ends up high. He has to be extremely accurate, especially on those short gimme routes.
The other two quarterbacks who have started, Kafka and Brewer, are both better on the move. They're running quarterbacks, whereas Bachér is more of your drop back kind of quarterback. Not much there for Tyrell Sutton. Boy, he ran into Klinkenborg and company. And it'll be a third down coming up for Northwestern. Let's check with Mike Gleason, Sports Center U update. All of those kinds of plays out of their system before they go to Columbus. Northwestern 32% on third downs this season, last in the Big Ten. Bachér, Herbert took a big hit, but has a first down at the 35-yard line. That was Pascal who delivered the hit, but Herbert, the fifth-year senior, hung on for a 13-yard gain.
And Herbert is that go-to guy. If Bachér can consistently get this kind of time, Herbert can catch the football a little high. Pascal comes up and puts a pop on him. And you can see Herbert bobbled it a little bit, but that's the go-to guy, especially on third and long.
First and 10. Tyrell Jordan sliced it back toward the middle, and Matt Kroll made the tackle. Kroll is a sophomore, Mount Vernon, Iowa. This Iowa team usually tough to run against, and this year no different. Fifth in rushing as Bain is shaken up on the play. That's all they need is another injury.
Wow.
Though. Alex Canellis has been out.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about that, Wayne. Canellis is out. Owebama is dinged up, and he's in uniform, but he hasn't been in the game yet. And now Bain was on that defensive inside opposite of 99 Madison.
Kirk Ferentz told us earlier this week, he said, you know, usually the Iowa team is just starting to rev up right now. Just they have improved. One of the beauties of the Iowa program under Ferentz has been that they're always better in November than they were in September. And they're usually making a big run in November. He says we haven't had the improvement in our football team this year yet because of things like this, the injuries, and they've been everywhere, offense and defense.
Yeah, the injuries, it's not only playing time when you get to Saturday afternoon, it's reps in practice where you get better in practice. You know, the majority of your time is spent on the field in practice during the week. That's where this Iowa program has improved. Great coaching staff. They teach their techniques and fundamentals extremely well, and that's why this Iowa team in the recent past has gotten better as the season has gone along.
Chad Geary's gone in at defensive end for Ryan Bain. Second down and 5, Northwestern. Bachér to the sidelines. Ross Lane is there, close to the first down. Bradley Fletcher escorted him to the chalk marks, and let's see if they give him a first down on that. I believe they do on forward progress. Ross Lane is a nice target. He's 6'3", 190 pounds. Runs a nice route here, Kelly.
Yeah, and again, Bachér, he puts the ball on the money, moving his feet just a bit. He's getting tremendous protection because of that dinged up defensive line. Norm Parker wants to get pressure with 4, and right now Iowa's getting 0 pressure on Bachér.
Everybody out for a pass. Quick toss on the slant. Gain of about 5 yards. Jeff Yarborough, a sophomore from Richton Park, Illinois, made the tackle. Bradley Fletcher on the coverage.
Well, Norm Parker is really between a rock and a hard place. His defensive line is dinged up. Normally they rotate 7 guys. He wants to get pressure with just 4, drop 7 into coverage. Well, if you can't do that, you want to bring guys, but his secondary is banged up already. Fletcher is in for Shada. They're inexperienced in the secondary as well.
Sutton, big hole up the middle, breaks the tackle of Marcus Pascal inside the Iowa 40 to the 38-yard line. Klinkenborg finally recovered to make the stop, 13 yards downfield to a first down, Northwestern.
We asked Norm Parker about that. You know, do you give different looks to the young quarterback Bachér at Northwestern? He says, you know, I would like to, but I'm playing guys in the secondary that get messed up themselves when we try to give guys different looks. And so really he has to be vanilla, which is magnified right now because his defensive line's getting no pressure on the quarterback.
Ryan Bain back into the right end spot for Iowa. First down, Northwestern off play action. Bachér on the rollout. Lofts it for Ross Lane. He's there, but the pass overthrown. It sailed just a bit. Lane had the coverage beat down the sidelines. Charles Godfrey was in his wake. The pass led him just a bit too much.
And I think sometimes, Wayne, with the young quarterback, when you're moving toward the line of scrimmage, you have to take a little off the football because you're moving in the direction the ball is going. And I think it was about a step and a half too far, and that's probably the reason why.
Again, they've had open receivers in this secondary. This is part of what you were talking about earlier. This is why you can't do a whole lot of blitzing. But look at Bachér. He knew he had 6 on that one. Had he put it on the money. 2nd and 10 from the Iowa 38. And this is Andrew Brewer. Brewer started the first 3 games of the Big Ten season at quarterback for Northwestern. Mike Klinkenborg made the stop.
Yeah, the slash package, he's still getting reps at the quarterback position, but a lot more this week at the wide receiver position, and they literally build a package for him. They're going to give him some quick screens, give it on a reverse like that, and try to get his athleticism in the game.
They're going to move him around from slot to slot on either side of the formation, that type of thing. And 3rd down here for Northwestern now. 3rd and 7 for Bachér. 10th play of the drive. 4-man rush for the Hawkeyes again. Bachér has time. Tyrell Sutton makes the turn past Klinkenborg and has the first down at the 27-yard line of the Iowa Hawkeyes. A 9-yard pickup.
Wayne, I think for Bachér, as in his 3rd start, Iowa's defense being nicked up on the defensive line is made to order for him, because look at the time he has. You can go through your reads without a great deal of pressure in your face. As a quarterback, that's very settling. You get a good feel of the game, and then if there's pressure later in the game, you're already settled into the flow.
First down, football just inside the Hawkeye 27. Bachér rolling out. Penalty markers down. He's got Herbert at the 10 to the 5, leaps for the end zone, and he's in for the touchdown, pending the outcome of the flag. Holding the call against Northwestern.
I think it's a classic case of getting the quarterback on the move. The launch points change for the defensive lineman, which means sometimes the offensive linemen get caught off guard.
Holding, 56. Offense, 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
Ryan Keenan trying to secure the right side as Bachér rolled that way.
And Keenan is the right tackle, and he just doesn't take a very good first step. He knows right now his quarterback is going outside of him. You have to block appropriately and get that defensive end, Madison, turned inside. I think it all started with the wrong step in the beginning.
First down for the Northwestern Wildcats. 1st and 20 at the Iowa 36. Bachér to the sidelines. Yarbrough incomplete. Yarbrough has stepped out of bounds near the 25, and the linesman threw his hat. But Godfrey on the coverage. Today's 1st and 10 line brought to you by Titan Technology Partners. Go to s2v.com to learn more about how Titan makes IT right.
Boy, this is an important time, I think, for Northwestern. They got off to a good start. You get behind down a distance because of the holding penalty. Now you have to find a way to get back in the mix. You don't have to pick it all up right here, but pick up enough.
Tyrell Sutton trying to shake loose and does. Breaks a couple of tackles, gets down to the 31-yard line. So they got 5 of it back and face a 3rd and 15 coming up. Klinkenborg got a piece of him on the tackle.
This is where Norm Parker's philosophy, the defensive coordinator for Iowa, his philosophy is tested because he doesn't like to bring a lot of pressure, but 3rd and long in the red zone is made to order for pressure. We'll see if he changes his philosophy on this play.
Bachér on 3rd and 15. Quick toss over the middle. Peterman wide open. First down inside the 15-yard line. 18-yard pickup. Marcus Pascal made the tackle, but I'll tell you something. They've had receivers running wide open this entire first quarter.
Yeah, the coverage isn't very good, and the pressure on the quarterback is absolutely nothing. Peterman coming inside. You can see there's nobody inside, Wayne, because it was man-to-man coverage underneath, and Peterman was matched up on 44 Humpel. I would take that matchup any play today.
And Bachér did. First down to the 13-yard line of Iowa. Northwestern on the attack. Tyrell Sutton met in the backfield, and down he goes. Mitch King. Outstanding defensive tackle, a sophomore out of Burlington, Iowa, among the nation's leaders in tackles behind the line of scrimmage, makes a big one right here. Loss of 3. Time for the Red Roof Inn Red Zone proficiency. Save at Red Roof Inns with Red's hot deals and special discounts. You only get online at redroof.com. Northwestern 68% touchdowns in the red zone. 6th overall in the Big Ten in red zone offense. Bachér, 7 of 11, 106 yards. He's got Ross Lane on the slant. They beat Grigsby inside the 10 down to the 8-yard line. It's a gain of 5. Make that Godfrey on the tackle.
I'll tell you what, this may be a long afternoon for Iowa because they're getting no pressure. That defensive line we talked about, they're banged up. They're used to rotating 6 or 7 through that 4-man spot, and those guys get worn down. They're not getting pressure while they're fresh. It's only going to get worse as the day goes along.
A long drive for the Northwestern Wildcats. 3rd down for Northwestern. Brewer, the man in motion. Up the middle, Tyrell Sutton inside the 5, just barely short of the first down. So the Hawkeyes rally to the football. Klinkenborg was there, along with Matt Kroll.
And Brewer will be at the point of attack sometimes, and then he will be a decoy. This time they put him in motion. He throws a little block. Actually, it looked like he kind of got in the way of Humpel. When you're at a quarterback, you don't do those things. But as a slash receiver, you got to get after it a little bit more.
Yeah, Pat was telling us the slash package they've got in for him. 22-yard field goal attempt. Joel Howells to give Northwestern a 10-0 lead. It's no good. Pulled it to the near side. Pulled it to the left. So Kirk Ferentz and company absorb a long Northwestern drive that does not result in any scoring for the visitors. Northwestern has dominated time of possession, but their lead is just 7 because Howells pulls this one wide left. Northwestern went 17 plays, 74 yards, 7 minutes, 31 seconds to this right here. 22-yard field goal attempt moments ago by Joel Howells. He pulled it just left. And Pat Fitzgerald's reaction, oh my goodness, all of that and nothing to show for it.
And we talked about them needing to be opportunistic. They cannot let opportunities like that slide by without points.
Iowa 1st and 10. Albert Young finding a crease off the right side of the 25-yard line, gain of 5. Let's get back to Mike Gleason, Sports Center. Michigan caught looking ahead, at least in the early going, but a lot of time left in that one, as is the case here in Iowa City. Northwestern has the lead. They dominated the first quarter, but their lead is just 7 on the road at Iowa. The big pass play of the first quarter was this one to Brewer. 48 yards to the doorstep, and then Tyrell Sutton brings it home. But this field goal missed, and Iowa looking to respond as we start the second quarter when we come back. Northwestern on top as we start the second quarter here in Iowa City. Pat Fitzgerald, one of the most positive people you'll ever run into. 2 weeks ago, his team blew a 35-point lead in a historic collapse to Michigan State. But he said, hey, the positive of that was we found out we know we can compete and win a Big Ten game. We just didn't finish on that day. Tough run right here for Albert Young, who gets a first down to the 31-yard line. Hawkeyes looking like they want to just hunker it down a bit here, settle things down, and get a good solid drive going. Time of possession of that first quarter, 9:37 for Northwestern. They dominated, but just 7 points on the board.
Yeah, that's the key. 7 points on the board, and they missed a couple of opportunities, not just a field goal, but a long pass that they overthrown through as well.
1st and 10 for the Hawkeyes. Tate under pressure immediately. Did he get it off in time? It's a fumble. Scooped up by the Hawkeyes. Simpson inside the 10. Tackled from behind inside the 10 near the 5-yard line. Trey Strauss made the tackle. A touchdown saving tackle. They're ruling it a fumble. Eddie Simpson, who has overcome injuries in his career and is playing today because of the injury to Nick Roach, makes the biggest play of the game so far from the defensive side of the football.
And he just comes absolutely clean. The offensive line slid away from Kane, and nobody. Usually that means the running back has to step up and cut off that side. Obviously a miscommunication.
Mark Kane triggered it loose, but Simpson was there to scoop it up. And I think Kirk Ferentz wants this challenged. Either.
Timeout, Iowa. Their first timeout.
No, Iowa's not challenging. They just took a timeout there. I wonder if they want to give the replay people upstairs a chance to look at that again a little closer.
Yeah, he's going to. He's going to challenge it right there. You first call a timeout, and then you explain it to the referee.
Mark Kane with the hit. Ball comes loose, and Northwestern on the move. Moments ago, was it a fumble or was it a forward pass? Take a look as Mark Kane comes to the left side of your screen.
And the issue is the arm going forward. If it's going forward in any form, it's an incomplete pass. It was called a fumble on the field, and it was not reversed.
That is the 10th fumble lost by Iowa's offense this season. That's the most in the Big Ten. Sutton trying to get the corner, nowhere to go. The Iowa Hawkeye defense responds. Good pursuit by Miles, the linebacker, along with Pascal, the safety. So it'll be a second down and goal to go coming up for Northwestern.
That first quarter, Wayne, was obviously dominated by Northwestern. The time of possession, the passing yards, which basically Northwestern is last in every passing category offensively in the Big Ten. But it's what they did with it. They only have 7 points on the board.
Cobb, the man in motion, second and goal to the 7. Blitz coming this time from Merrick. The pass to the end zone is caught by Peterman. Oh, what a beautiful adjustment by Peterson. And it's a touchdown Northwestern. Peterman on the reception, a 7-yard touchdown throw by Bachér.
Peterman's the inside guy right there. He's going to go to the corner as Lane comes inside. Pascal just gets behind him, but it's the catch at the end. Keep your eye on the football, underthrown, and it actually comes under the arm of Pascal. Great catch by Peterman.
Pascal screening on the play all the way, but Peterman's concentration made it a touchdown. The extra point is good, and the Iowa Hawkeyes this time cash in. Early going second quarter. Upset brewing in Iowa City. Bachér and the Wildcats lead it 14-0. C.J. Bachér has Northwestern on top. Let's dissect that last touchdown.
Nice recognition by Bachér. This receiver, Pascal, is over there for a reason because this guy's coming off the slot, meaning I have man-to-man coverage. If Peterman can get by Pascal to the corner, I have a touchdown. It wasn't a tremendous throw, but it was exactly the right place to go with the football.
And what an adjustment by Peterman on the reception. Short kickoff. Taken by one of the up-backs across the 20-yard line out to the 25, and Iowa will have possession near the 27-yard line to the Hawkeyes. Champ Davis on the return. Back to the studio.
Good point, Wayne.
My goodness. Meanwhile, the Hawkeyes quickly go to the old Staples. Scott Chandler, the senior from South Lake, Texas, on the reception. A gain of about 6 yards. Deontay Battle came over from his cornerback position to put a hit on the tight end from the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Well, you just referred to the tight end as the old staple. Northwestern obviously knows that. Drew Tate needs some wide receivers to get in the mix in this quarter right here.
Douglas and Grigsby at the top of your screen. That's Chandler at the bottom, and here comes Albert Young. Not quite enough for the first down. On a gain of about 3 yards to the 36-yard line, and Northwestern flowing to the football. Eddie Simpson and Demetrius Eaton.
Wayne, we talked about Drew Tate's thumb. It's his left hand, and that means going to the right like they did right there. He has to hand it off with that injured thumb. That's the second time in this game they ran to the right side.
He's got that glove on that hand. Marathon fast stats. Northwestern piling it up in the early going of the second quarter. Should be a first down for the Hawkeyes here. A little pile driving move. Young on the carry. Adam Hahn in on that tackle, and it's a first down for the Hawkeyes, who really struggled to just possess the football in that first quarter, Kelly. 9:37 time of possession for Northwestern in the first quarter alone, and then the Wildcats get the fumble on a nice hit in the pass rush by Mark Kane as Drew Tate gave up the football, and they cashed in right away. First down for Iowa. Football, 37-yard line, Hawkeye territory. Tate with time, steps forward and delivers. Nicely done out across the 50-yard line. Andy Brodell on the reception. 14-yard gain, and they're in Northwestern territory.
This is what Iowa needs to do. Is Drew Tate needs some wide receivers to go down and find the voids in that zone and give Tate somewhere to throw the football other than to number 87, Scott Chandler.
Well, Iowa a little bit thin at wide receiver at times this season. Calvin Davis, their lone returning receiver with any great deal of experience, suffered an Achilles injury early this season and obviously is out for the rest of the year. So the Hawkeyes have had to go with youth in the receiving corps and inexperience to an extent. Young tripped up, beautiful play made by Adam Hahn, who got just enough of him to bring him down after a gain of a yard.
That's been a staple of this Iowa offense for the last several years, is a nasty offensive line that gets after the defensive line in a big way. But that offensive line has been banged up as well. They've been moved around, and they're still trying to find continuity with one another.
And that's a big key in the offensive line. You want those guys healthy every week, every day in practice, taking all the reps. That hasn't been the case for the Hawkeyes this year. Tate, good protection, pass knocked down short of the mark, incomplete. Adam Hahn or John Gill got a piece of it. I believe it was Gill who tipped that ball. And it's 3rd down and 9 coming up for the Hawkeyes.
You know, Drew Tate is 6 feet tall, and this happens to him quite often. You have to find that throwing lane, but if you're Northwestern's defensive line, understand that he's a shorter quarterback comparatively. Get your hands up and try to get your hand on the ball.
3rd and 9 for the Hawkeyes at the 48-yard line of Northwestern. Tate under pressure from Wooten. Lets it go, and it's caught on the play by Dominique Douglas, who came back for it to bail out his quarterback. That seemed to be like a wounded duck sailing up there. Tate took a big hit. Dominique Douglas is short of the first down. Gain of 7 yards. It'll be third down, make it 4th down and 2 coming up for the Hawkeyes. They send the punting unit on.
Wooten getting tremendous pressure off the edge right there. Actually, he looped into the middle. Dangerous pass. And the fans right here wanted Ferentz to make a tough decision and go for it. Keep an eye on Tate, though. He was very slow getting up from that hit by Wooten.
Good leverage into this punt. Hits on the 1-yard line, backs up and is covered by the Hawkeyes. Oh, that hit inside the 1. My goodness. Andy Fenstermaker. Tiger Woods would have been happy with an approach shot like that. That was a wedge on a wet green, and the Hawkeyes down at the 3-yard line in Northwestern territory. Watch this.
Wow.
How did that not carry him into the end zone? Tell you.
It literally almost hit on the line, about the 6-inch line. But Wayne, in this team sport, you never know where the play is going to come from that can ignite your players. Even if it comes from Fenstermaker, the punter, Iowa Hawkeyes right now will accept that.
If the Hawkeyes are going to take advantage of this, they'll have to get a 1-2-3 and out, you would figure. Northwestern has moved the football steadily, but never from this deep in its own territory today. Bachér going deep, pass overthrown, incomplete. Good coverage over the top by Pascal on Ross Lane out near the 40-yard line of Northwestern.
And Northwestern is obviously trying to break every tendency. Play action pass deep in your end zone. And actually, if Bachér would have had his eyes up and would have not picked out his receiver before that snap, Sean Herbert was running totally free on the other side of the field.
From the 3-yard line, 2nd and 10. Bachér 9 of 14, 121 yards and a touchdown. And they roll him out. Bashay's going to keep it. Dives close to the 1st down across the 10-yard line. Gain of 9. He's a yard short. Bain from the defensive line in pursuit. Able to get there defensively. And Northwestern now 3rd down and short on the run by C.J. Bachér.
Wayne, we saw that in Bashay's first start against Michigan State. He wasn't one of the quarterbacks that would known for his feet, but he moved his feet very well in that game, just like he did on that play.
They make a quick change at quarterback now. Brewer on a quarterback in the shotgun on 3rd down. The pitch, Tyrell Sutton. Can he get the corner? He cannot. Big Ryan Bain was out in front of that play. Edmund Miles, the little linebacker, flowed to it as well. Loss of 1.
Wayne, I think sometimes coordinators can outthink themselves, and I think this is one of those plays. When Brewer goes in the game, obviously he's going to do something with the football and generally try to run it. He didn't force the line of scrimmage at the option. Bashay's the one that has the feel of the game at that quarterback position right now.
First punt of the day for Slade Larshide. 9th in the Big Ten in punting average, and he gets off a scud missile of a kick here, a shank. Flat out shank. Out of bounds, 34-yard line of Northwestern. And the field position has just swung totally in favor of the home-standing Hawkeyes. 22-yard punt. ESPNU All-State Standings Review. Big win this week for Louisville. 7-0 now, moving up the charts. Ohio State and Michigan trying to get to Columbus undefeated on the last weekend of the Big Ten season. First down for Tate. Quick little screen, a little wide receiver screen. Grigsby and the Wildcats swarm the football very well. Corey Wooten was there. Kevin Mims, the defensive end, also into that tackle. Gain of a couple of yards.
Well, Iowa's defense did their job, Wayne. They got the 3 and out that you talked about by that tremendous punt by Fenstermaker. But now the offense has to do something they haven't done. Put together 3 or 4 good plays, get in scoring position. Preferably, obviously, they need a touchdown.
Drew Tate out of the eye. 2nd down. Damian Sims, the quickness right through the middle of the Northwestern defense to a 1st down near the 23-yard line of the Wildcats. Reggie McPherson in the secondary made the stop 9 yards downfield.
This is what Iowa's offensive line has been able to do consistently over the recent past. A good fit at the line of scrimmage, opening up that hole for Sims, who is really that home run hitter out of he and Young. He's the guy that can take it the distance.
You see, he runs low to the ground, a lot of quickness through that hole. Before you realize he's there, he's darted through it. Grigsby out of the flank, eludes one defender inside the 15 and is shoved back by a host of defenders near the 13-yard line. And that's a gain of about 10 yards to a first down, depending on the spot of the ball. This week's passing combinations brought to you by Cargill. We collaborate, create, and succeed with our customers.
And we know Chandler is going to get his touches. It's Douglas we haven't even heard from. Brodell has a couple of catches here as of late. But we see the adjustment, Wayne, on this drive. Tate is getting the ball out quickly. Northwestern has defended well in the secondary. Get your receivers the ball on the line of scrimmage and make that secondary prove that they can tackle.
It's a good point. And again, we've seen a couple of wide receiver screens. They're just short of the first down. And Kelly, the reason for that is because the coverage downfield, from what you can tell?
Yeah, we've seen Northwestern do a tremendous job of generally rushing 4 and covering with 7 and doing a very good job of sticking to Iowa's receivers. So, Wayne, what you need to do is get your receivers the ball on the line of scrimmage where coverage isn't really a factor, and then see what the matchup is like in the secondary.
And then it's up to them.
Exactly. You know, they're the playmakers. Your wide receivers are your playmakers. You have to find a way to get them the football, whether it's down the field or on the line of scrimmage. Really doesn't matter.
Football just outside the 13-yard line. Second down and inches for the Hawkeyes. 2 tight ends on the line. Single back. Sims stiff-arming his way, got the first down. Quick reaction by Mims, the defensive lineman, on that play. He was the first to the ball. Then Deontay Battle came in to help out. But it's a first down for the Hawkeyes. Gain of 2 down to the 11-yard line. Fast moving first half.
It really is.
First down for Tate and company. Sims the tail of the tandem. Tate lots of time. Trying to make a play. He does to Moiaki, the tight end, who tight ropes the sidelines for a gain of about 4 or 5 yards inside the 10 down to about the 6-yard line. Deontay Battle edged him out of bounds. They marked it at the 7.
That play was really meant to be a tendency breaker. You bring your big body personnel, a couple of tight ends and a big fullback into the game, and then you play action pass. But the bottom line is those aren't your best route runners, and he didn't have anyone open.
In the red zone this season, 8th overall in the Big Ten are the Hawkeyes. Second down. Tate drilling the end zone. It's intercepted. Intercepted by the Wildcats' Brendan Smith. And he's got it out to the 14-yard line. So the Wildcats turn back. The Iowa Hawkeyes. And it's first down Northwestern at the Wildcat 14-yard line.
And Wayne, really poor recognition by a veteran quarterback. Smith, 39, is just setting in a zone, reading the quarterback's eyes. He doesn't have anyone to cover. And Tate didn't see him and was trying to get the slant in behind him. Smith didn't even move his feet.
Second interception of the season for Brendan Smith, the safety. Second Iowa turnover of the day. Tyrell Jordan moving the pile off the left side. Close to the 20-yard line, gain of almost 6 yards.
Tate is one of those third-year starters, and he makes a first-year player mistake right there. Obviously, he knows it. He's seen all that stuff before. He just didn't recognize it very well.
Second down for Northwestern, about 4 yards to go off the gain of 6 in the previous play. Wildcats leading it 14-0 here in Iowa City. Coming up on 5 minutes to go in this first half. Bachér decisive on the slant. Sean Herbert first down and more across the 30, and he stormed back near the 35-yard line. So the Wildcats operating a very sharp offense, taking advantage of their opportunities. 15-yard gain there. The only opportunity they didn't take advantage of was when they missed the 22-yard field goal.
Right. And right now, Iowa just looks like they're sleepwalking. They look tired. They're not hustling to the football. And the team that wants it more right now is Northwestern.
The Wildcats looking like anything but a team that blew a 35-point lead at home to Michigan State 2 weeks ago. They are playing with the crispness of a team that's heading toward the bowls, whereas Iowa is just trying to hang on at the moment. That's Tyrell Jordan out across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Marcus Pascal made the stop. The Hawkeyes are going to go to a bowl game, but they have kind of struggled through this season with all the injuries we documented earlier. And right now they're just struggling through this ball game here today, as you mentioned, Kelly.
Yeah, the injuries on the defensive line, I think, are enormous right now. Getting zero pressure on Bachér. He's extremely comfortable, and Northwestern has a group of receivers that can consistently get open.
Rasheed Ward in motion, but they keep it on the ground. Jordan on a straight ahead move hammered Mitch King on that drive up the middle close to the first down. Gain of about 3 yards. It'll be 3rd and 1 coming up.
But Wayne, this is another one of those important moments for Northwestern. It's such a fine line. They have to take advantage of everything. You work it into a 3rd and short situation. You have to extend the drive, and ultimately you have to go down and get some kind of points.
3rd and short. Under 4 minutes to go, first half. Cobb, the fullback. Bachér, and the catch is made. A good adjustment once again on the near sidelines this time by Ross Lane, as he was able to turn around the coverage of Bradley Fletcher.
And this is big time. Remember, Bashir's in his 3rd start. Lane does a tremendous job of adjusting. If the defensive player is overplaying the fade, throw it to the back outside shoulder of the receiver and let him adjust. Your receiver's looking at the ball, the defender isn't. Perfectly executed.
19-yard gain to the Iowa 35-yard line for the Wildcats. They reverse it. Yarborough trying to get around the end. Edmund Miles made a great play at linebacker. He followed his assignment to a T, stayed at home, makes the tackle for a loss of 1. Good play by that linebacker.
Yeah, the gadget plays usually aren't good against Iowa because they're so fundamentally sound in technique and assignment. Miles has contained. He stays home. You expect the ball to come back to you if you have contained, and he's there to make the play.
Kelly, are you of the thought that all those gadget plays are either home runs or
home runs are there. Some of the ugliest plays you'll ever see.
Exactly. 2nd and 11 as a result. Bachér, good protection. And over the middle, once again, I believe that's Peterman on the reception. Klinkenborg made the tackle to the 30-yard line. 7-yard gain. You know, here's another thing that Pat Fitzgerald mentioned to us. Northwestern has played much better of late. He mentioned that he was excited about his football team. Why? Well, they've been losing, but he felt that 6 of their last 8 quarters they played very good competitive football to the Big Ten, including all 4 quarters at Michigan.
Yeah, young players, if you're paying attention, you ought to improve, and that's what he's seeing with his guys right now.
He said that's why we're excited about where we are. Bachér. Oh, good route once again by Ross Lane. He is whipping defensive backs out there. That time, Charles Godfrey, the man beaten for 10 yards and a first down for Northwestern at the Iowa 20-yard line. Northwestern 5 of 7 now on 3rd down conversions here today. Well, that speaks to the play of the quarterback right there.
And it speaks to that matchup right there. Lane on number 13, Charles Godfrey. Lane is flat wearing him out, but it really doesn't matter. You can see the lack of confidence in the secondary for Iowa. You need to get up to the line of scrimmage and get aggressive if you're Iowa.
Well, they've got press coverage on the corners. Northwestern with Tyrell Sutton slashing his way off right tackle inside the 15, down near the 13-yard line. So it'll be 2nd down coming up, but positive plays on 1st down more often than not now for Northwestern. Miles, the principal defender on that play, along with Miguel Merrick.
Well, you talked about Iowa having press coverage, Wayne, but as a quarterback, I can tell whether the corner is confident in his press coverage or not. If he's aggressive and getting after the receiver, I understand that guy can play football. But if he's in press coverage and then gets soft at the snap, I understand that may be a place I want to go.
Bachér eludes It's Madison. Throws to the end zone and threw it away. Yarborough in the general vicinity. But Brian Madison has made a lot of plays for the Hawkeyes. 8.5 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. 5.5 sacks. 4 pass breakups. He's been a stat stuffer at defensive end, and he was the principal problem for Northwestern on that play.
Bachér does a nice job of getting away from Madison, but Madison needs to be that guy that has kind of a monster game. He needs to get it going. There isn't any other players along the line of scrimmage that's getting any pressure whatsoever on Northwestern.
Second double-digit drive of the day for Northwestern. They had a 17-play drive earlier. The 11th play of this drive. There's the slant. Contact made. Do I see a flag? No, it's tipped up into the air and intercepted by Miguel Merrick. Big play right there. First turnover for Northwestern. The Hawkeyes respond with their backs to the wall. Bachér looking to take advantage, but Miguel Merrick is Johnny on the spot off the pass breakup. Larrabee Kelly Stauffer back at Iowa. Northwestern leading here 14-0. Watch the interception. They're again going at Charles Godfrey.
Yeah, that's a place that obviously Northwestern wants to get after, but Godfrey does a nice job. He's seen that route probably 5 times on the afternoon already.
Damian Sims for a short gain. Our Polaris out-of-town scoreboard. Penn State, Wisconsin, that'll be a defensive struggle. I think first team to 10 wins that one. Michigan now getting it together against Ball State. How about Minnesota? Is that a shocker or what?
Yeah, it really is. Indiana has been playing very good football, and Minnesota has been struggling a great deal, but they're getting after it this afternoon.
Second down here for the Hawkeyes, who are struggling. They've had 2 turnovers and 2 sacks in this game. Sims patiently taking what the defense gave him for a couple of yards as the first half comes to a close. Northwestern has carried the day. Drew Tate and company will have to be on the comeback trail of the Hawkeyes to get back into this one. Let's go to Mike Gleason, John Cooper, Phillips 66 halftime report.
All right, thanks a lot, Wayne. 14-0. Good start for Pat Fitzgerald. You know, the Northwestern Wildcats, you never know it record-wise, but they don't have quit in that football team. Each Saturday, they're always they go down fighting.
Northwestern certainly not a real good team, but they are a scrappy team, and I think Pat Fitzgerald and his staff are doing a nice job. It's hard to keep your team playing, you know, when you're not, you know, playing for a championship or playing for a bowl game. But they're playing hard today. I got to give them credit.
Well, the Iowa Hawkeyes already bowl eligible, but they're playing for a better bowl game, and a kind of a stunned crowd at Kinnick Stadium right now.
Northwestern University. Exceptional academic opportunities. 2 beautiful lakefront campuses. A collaborative community. Lifelong friendships. Northwestern University.
The Iowa Hawkeyes have played in 4 straight New Year's Day bowl games. Now, they have 3 losses on the season right now, so if they are to make it 5 in a row to New Year's Day, well, the next 2 quarters here in Iowa City are keys to that challenge. The Iowa Hawkeyes are down 14-0. Wayne Larrabee, Kelly Stauffer, great to have you with us. This should be interesting in the second half. The Hawkeyes could ill afford another slip-up if they hope to play on New Year's Day.
Yeah, things have to change dramatically. They're not playing like the Hawkeye teams of the past that have been to those bowl games, quite frankly. They're not doing the little things right, so we'll just see how the second half plays out.
Take a look at the highlights of the first half, and they are brought to you by Can-Am.
The Northwestern gets it started quarterback to quarterback. Bachér to Brewer, the slash receiver. Big play, and then Sutton finishes it off going around the end. It's exactly the start that Northwestern needed. Great play right here, good read. Peterman makes a tough catch, but it's been the miscues right now by Iowa. Uncharacteristically making mistakes, protection breakdowns. Northwestern, I don't know if they took quite advantage of these kind of things right here, Wayne. The window is so small. If you're Northwestern, you can't be turning the ball over in the red zone, and you can't be missing field goals. We'll see what kind of difference that makes in the second half.
Second half from Iowa City coming up. Big second half for the Iowa Hawkeyes if they're to get back into this one. Well, it's that time of year in these parts. They should have just about all that soybean picked up in another week or so. The corn's already in the silo, and we're just about set for winter around here. And it got cold the last couple of nights in the Midwest. Meanwhile, usually at this time of year, the Hawkeyes are harvesting another New Year's Day bowl trip. Well, they'll have to come back in this game to keep those bowl hopes alive. Here come the Wildcats as we start the third quarter. Sherrick McManus out across the 20, close to the 25-yard line. 24-yard return. Marcus Wilson forced him out. First half numbers, and it should be pointed out, Northwestern had a time of possession advantage of almost 5 minutes. 17-26 to 12-34.
Yeah, the question really is, did Northwestern do enough, take advantage of the opportunities they had? And Iowa just is not playing like we've come accustomed to seeing.
Each side has had a turnover in the red zone. Iowa's turned it over twice. Northwestern one turnover. And the Wildcats first and 10 at the 24. Peterman in motion off the bottom of the screen. And they cleared out. Tyrell Sutton in space. Sutton, good finish to that run. Bradley Fletcher latched on, and Sutton is close to a first down on a gain of 9. Northwestern, and a lot of this had to do with the Michigan State game, in which they lost a 38-3 lead in the second half. But second half has not been good for Pat Fitzgerald and company.
Wayne, remember when we were there for the Michigan State game, Coach Fitzgerald actually said they were practicing coming out of the halftime and warming up differently to try to change that number we just saw.
Doing the same routines they do pregame is what he was saying, and that's what they're trying to do, because they usually get off to a good start first down here for Sutton. He said, you know, we get off to such good starts in that first half. We come out after halftime, it's like we don't have it. We lose something. And so he said, well, let's do the same routine we do going into the first half. Why not? And,
yeah.
You know, it's unorthodox, but, you know.
I like it a lot. Why not? You're right. And how does Iowa figure into that mix? Iowa has been outscored in the third quarter on the season. So we'll see if that window of opportunity is there for Northwestern to expand their lead.
First and 10, 39-yard line of the Wildcats. Brewer was the man in motion. Sutton looking for some running room. Very patient run, and Edmund Miles closes the hole after a gain of 5 to the 44-yard line. The quarterback comparison today, Bachér been pretty sharp for the most part. That one interception was on a good pass breakup by Charles Godfrey. Tipped it up into the air, and Miguel Merrick came over to intercept it in the red zone.
And the passing yards for Northwestern right there is just icing on the cake. Tate needs more plays from his wide receivers. He needs his wide receivers to run some nice routes and get open in the second half.
Second down. Sutton in space. Trying to get to the outside. Close to the first down. Charles Godfrey met him on the flank one-on-one, and the cornerback went low on the tackle attempt. Zach Gableman was also in the vicinity.
That's the first time we've seen that quick screen route to Sutton, and that's really an extension of their running game. Throw it on time, throw an accurate pass, and get Sutton in space, faced up on a defense, and let him try to make a play.
That was Matt Kroll in on that last tackle, not Gableman. Northwestern 5 of 8 on third down conversions, 3rd and 1. And Bachér needs a timeout. First break of the third quarter. Almost 3 minutes gone by. Northwestern on the drive, leading 14-0. Welcome back to Iowa City. That's the Hawk Strike Force, dedicated in 1990 to former Iowa AD Bump Elliott. We could use a little strike here. 3rd down and a yard to go for Northwestern, nearing the midfield marker. Opening drive, second half. Bachér juggled and dropped by Herbert. Marcus Wilson got a piece of it. Wilson, a redshirt freshman. And it's 4th down for Northwestern.
Wilson's the nickelback, and they put him up in press coverage out on the corner and does a nice job. That ball needs to be caught by Herbert. That's the fine line that Iowa needs to force Northwestern particularly Bachér, proved that he can make plays in that tight zone.
First drop of the day for Northwestern receiver Marshide. And the catch made by Dominique Douglas, the freshman, tackled immediately by Sherrick McManus, one of the best gunners in the Big Ten. 41-yard punt. Iowa will start at its 11-yard line. The Big Ten standings are brought to you by esurance.com. Instant online car insurance.
Well, Ohio State and Michigan, that speaks for itself. Everyone looking forward to a game in a couple of weeks. Wisconsin, Penn State fighting it out for third and fourth place maybe today.
Iowa Hawkeyes feel like they're still in that mix as well. Albert Young trying to get to the outside, turned back inside by Smith. Nice play, gain of a couple. Do you know the last time two teams from one conference that started the season 10-0? Way back to the days of the Southwest Conference. Wow. Remember that? SMU and TCU.
1935.
Well, that predated even our statistician, Jeff Nelson.
Barely.
Didn't think anything
just
predated
by a
him.
little bit.
I think he was here for the christening of this stadium at one point. Second down. Tate. Grigsby able to latch on. Herb Grigsby up near the 20 on a gain of about 6 more yards. Adam Cadella made the stop. Hawkeyes will go 3rd and 1 coming up. Good decisive throw that time though by Drew Tate.
That's what Iowa needs to get going in the second half. Is give Tate, as we saw at the open, he's the guy. Give him an opportunity to win this game for you.
Young the tail of the tandem. Bush the fullback. Albert Young. Nice move up the middle. Got a first down to the 26-yard line. And a gain of roughly 6 more yards. Sherrick McManus made the stop. McManus, true freshman out of Peoria. They are really high on this kid. Playing in place of the injured Marquise Cole. Cole, a senior, on the corner. But this McManus kid has special ability. Boy, we see it on the kick returns and on punt coverage. Yeah. My goodness.
We've seen that for a few weeks now. Now he gets a chance to do it on the defensive side.
1st and 10. Blitz coming. McPherson almost got there in time. Tate hung in there, makes the completion to Dominique Douglas. What a great play by Tate to Douglas. Deontay Battle forced him out, but it was Reggie McPherson with the quarterback dead in his sights. That takes courage for 17 yards.
And that's what Tate is all about, is courage. Stand in the face of a blitz. You can see it right there and deliver a ball, a great conversion. Watch the hit on Tate. You know you're going to get it. You just have to stand there long enough to get the ball off. That is what that position takes, and it's desperately what this team needs right now.
So, first down for the Hawkeyes, 43-yard line, Iowa territory. Tate sends up the screen to Young. Oh, great pursuit. John Gill from the backside. Pulled him down, loss of a couple of yards back to the 41.
That screen originally or initially looked like it had a chance, but Gill did a great job of sniffing that out.
Young is limping off toward the sidelines as Tate gets the play.
And Wayne, keep an eye on Tate, because he took that pop on that blitz by Battle, and he got up shaking that left hand. Remember, that's the surgically repaired thumb on the left side.
I mean, McPherson in the blitz.
McPherson on the blitz, excuse me.
2nd down and 12. Sims slips past the defender and gets out across the 45 to the 48-yard line. Gain of about 5 yards. Mark Kane got him to the ground.
You can see the hand right there, Wayne, and we were told that it only comes into play when he hands off to the right side like he does right here. But look how he holds it in both hands. Normally he would go just to his left hand, but that's almost like an option handoff. He uses both to make sure that ball gets in there.
3rd down for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Andy Brodell in motion. Tate. Tom Bush, the fullback, diving for the first down. I think he stepped out though short. Just across the 50, stepped out of bounds near the Northwestern 49, and he's short of the first down. Is this a decision here? to be made. Nope, they're going to send on the punting unit. Way too early to go for it on 4th and 2.5.
Bush is that big fullback that's a very good receiver, does a lot of catching the ball after practice, and he's had a couple of big catches here recently. Just steps out of bounds, but the fans, once again, they wanted Ferentz to make a decision and go for it to try to get some life in his football team.
Finstermaker on in punt formation. Hangs it high once again. Fair catch signal made, and this time the catch completed near the 13-yard line by Brendan Smith. Third quarter in Iowa City. Northwestern maintains a 14-point edge. Strike up the band, especially if it's from Northwestern. They've got the lead 14-0. The schedules brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, are the best parts, people, and price. We're ready in advance. We're down to the short strokes in the Big Ten season, aren't we? Northwestern 1st and 10, 13-yard line, Wildcat territory. Change of direction, Sutton. Nice move. Got a first down out across the 20-yard line. Randall Godfrey got enough of him to bring him down, but not before a gain of 10 yards, maybe 11. Charles Godfrey on that tackle, but take a look at Tyrell Sutton last year to this year. And, you know, in these numbers, always a lot of different factors go into it. Sutton's been banged up a little bit. The offensive line hasn't been quite as good as it was a year ago.
Yeah, you have a quarterback that most defenses come into the game making them prove that they can throw the football.
Exactly. So they've been stacking the box with 8 men in the box every week. Sutton again change of direction, and again he's got a first down and more, nearly broke it. Tyrell Sutton. Goodness. Miles on that tackle with Mike Humple. 18-yard gain.
This is a nice job of Garrett McGee saying, hey, if it works to the left, let's run it to the right. You can see the guard right there, Tripodi, pulling from the left side, and it becomes essentially a lead play on the opposite side. And that's how you outman people at the line of scrimmage. Move your offensive lineman from one side if they're quick enough and let him lead to the opposite side.
First down, Northwestern. Sutton now 70 yards rushing on 14 carries. Get it to him in the flat. Humble equal to the task, and the linebacker one-on-one makes the tackle on the fleet running back, a gain of just 3.
And Wayne, I think that's exactly what Northwestern needs to do more of. Even though Humble did a nice job on that play, make him make plays on Sutton out in space consistently. And what Northwestern likes to do is try to rub Sutton's coverage off by sending a receiver inside, but Humble did a nice job of getting over the top and making a tremendous play.
Sutton nearing 20 touches here this afternoon of the game. 2nd down and 7. Football to the Northwestern 43. Bachér to the sidelines, intercepted. Charles Godfrey's got it. Godfrey broke up one pass play in the red zone of the first half that allowed Miguel Merrick to make an interception. This time Charles Godfrey gets it himself on a poor throw by C.J. Bachér.
Godfrey seems to have learned quickly. He was getting taken advantage of early in this game, but he's doing a nice job of making plays. Blew up a play for an interception in the red zone in the first half, and then this is really, Bachér just gets greedy. Sutton's setting down outside is where the ball needs to go, and it needs to go there on time. Do not get greedy and give Iowa an opportunity.
First down to the Hawkeye 46. Sims changes direction, bouncing to the outside, breaks the tackle of Deontay Battle, and down he goes at the hand of Reggie McPherson at the 44-yard line, close to a first down on a gain of 9 or 10 yards.
The way Northwestern is constantly working with a small room for error, the fine line between success and failure, and Bachér cannot afford to make mistakes like that. Take what the defense gives you, make Iowa earn everything, and don't give them an easy one like he just did.
14-0 Northwestern. They call for the chains. Now, during one of the timeouts following Iowa's last possession, we got word from one of the stalwarts in the press box that Drew Tate, who normally, and it's first down for the Hawkeyes, who normally employs a lot of play action to his game, has done very little of that here today. We haven't seen much of that, have we? And I wonder if the injured thumb is the reason.
That's an interesting point, because you think of a quarterback, right-handed quarterback play action is generally sticking that left hand in the belly of the runner.
Yep.
And Tate doesn't seem like he really wants to do that.
First and 10 at the Northwestern 44-yard line. Perhaps this is Iowa's opportunity to get back into the game. Damian Sims wanted to go left and then just took it straight ahead, got about a yard. Played pretty well stacked up by Northwestern. They've been disciplined along that defensive front for the most part today, haven't they?
They really have, and I think that certainly was a key battle coming in. Iowa's banged up, and Northwestern just needs to play their gap, get penetration when they can, and they've done a great job so far this afternoon.
Today's First and 10 line brought to you by Titan Technology Partners. Go to s2v.com. Learn more about how Titan makes IT right. Second down, about 9. Tate straight back. Finds Douglas for a first down, or close to it, at the 34-yard line of Northwestern. Deontay Battle, the man who was beaten on the play, he made the tackle. Dominique Douglas is a true freshman out of Detroit, Michigan. Second leading receiver coming in. 456 yards and 2 touchdowns. The guy who's been quiet today is Scott Chandler. We haven't seen a whole lot of him.
No, and I think Northwestern is going to take Chandler away until Douglas and Grigsby and the wide receivers figure more into the mix.
Tony Moiaki, the tight end, in motion. Damian Sims looked left, looked right, went right, got about 3, maybe 4 yards down to the 30-yard line of the Wildcats. Demetrius Eaton, the linebacker, number 42, out of Milwaukee Vincent High School, made the stop.
When you talked about Albert Young kind of limped off the field the series before, Sims is in the game. Sims has been prone to fumble the football. Keep an eye on that ball security, but it also slows his feet down and makes him less effective.
He's fumbled 4 times, lost 4 fumbles this year. Sims off left guard, not much there. And the Iowa offense a little bit conservative, or you kind of get the feeling the crowd murmuring a little bit about that. Adam Hahn made this tackle there, but
no question about it. They're disgruntled a little bit right here. They want to see Drew Tate figure more into the game plan, and I think they're exactly right.
Yeah, they want to see Drew Tate gunsling this thing.
That's right. He's the guy, and he's the guy that this team needs to jump on his back and let him get it done this afternoon.
So third down for the Iowa Hawkeyes. 3 of 7 on third down conversions today. Tate going for Douglas. Oh, what a catch! First and goal inside the 5. Dominique Douglas with an athletic reception down the sidelines for 24 yards. And what beautiful touch on that throw by Drew Tate.
And we've seen Douglas get into the mix in this second half because the defense is all over 87 Chandler. Notice the throw. Outside shoulder, give your receiver a chance. He gets 1 foot in, the second foot's out, which doesn't make any difference in college football.
First 20-yard plus play for Iowa's offense today. Now they're on the doorstep. Damian Sims, touchdown! Finally, something for this big crowd in Iowa City to cheer over. A 3-yard touchdown run by Damian Sims. Preceded it by a brilliant toss and catch to Dominique Douglas.
Important to keep in mind, points off of turnovers. That started with Bachér throwing into coverage.
Kyle Schlickert for the point after. And the Iowa Hawkeyes jump right back in it with 3:46 left to go. And they did it in pretty fashion. Gorgeous catch here. That set up this run right there as the Iowa Hawkeyes get back into it in Iowa City. Welcome back to Iowa City, Iowa. The Hawkeyes trailing now by 7, 14-7. Off a 7-play, 54-yard drive.
Off of the INT by Bachér, a good job of Tate taking advantage of the big mistake by the young quarterback.
Kickoff by Schlickert. Sun now shining in Iowa City. Sherrick McManus crossed the 30 and out of bounds. Schlickert angled him out of bounds at the 35-yard line. 32-yard return. Well, if you're Northwestern and you're on that sidelines, You're wondering, oh, here we go again. You got to be thinking that, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, with Northwestern, there's a fine line between failure and success, and they've turned the ball over, missed a field goal, turned the ball over in the red zone, and then that last touchdown by Iowa was off a turnover. They can't turn the ball over and expect to be in this football game.
1st and 10. Northwestern at the Wildcat 36. Tyrell Sutton running hard. And the Iowa offense looks more rejuvenated out to the 40-yard line at a gain of 4. The Polaris out-of-town scoreboard. Let's see what's happening up there in Madison. Wisconsin has the edge on Penn State. We knew that would be a defensive struggle. Michigan's doubled up Ball State. Indiana trying to make a comeback, but they're well off the pace at Minnesota.
Yeah, the Golden Gophers may be waking up toward the end of this season. They'll figure heavy into the mix of how this conference sorts out down the stretch.
2nd down and 6 for Northwestern. From the Wildcat 40, Sutton trying to bounce it. Nowhere to go. Stacked up very well. Madison made an ankle grab on the tackle. Pickup of 2, and it's 3rd down Northwestern. Here's the other thing. You wonder, Garrett McGee has seen his quarterback turn it over a couple of times. Does he begin to pull things in from a play calling standpoint?
That's a good question. Right there on that series, he certainly did. Give it to Sutton, who's been there before, has more experience, but it's 3rd down and 4 right here. This is where your quarterback has to make the right read and throw the right ball to the right receiver.
Northwestern's been awfully good on 3rd down today, 5 of 9. 3rd down, Bachér. And coming back for it, Lane's got a 1st down up near the midfield marker, and a penalty marker thrown very late. Bradley Fletcher escorted him to the chalk marks in front of the Iowa bench. Wonder if they saw a little extracurricular following the play on that. Personal foul against Northwestern. Goodness.
The thing is, I think it's going to be after the 1st down completion, after the play, but they'll move them back 15 yards, but it will still be Northwestern football 1st and 10, I believe.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike, number 9, offense. We have a 1st down, 15-yard penalty. It will be 1st and 10.
Let's see if we can see what happened.
It had to happen way late. Yeah, he threw the ball back. Lane got pushed into the Iowa bench and just tosses the ball. Right there. Keep your cool, young man, and get back to the huddle. You just cost your team 15 yards.
It's 1st down, but football back at the 36 instead of up near the 50. Bachér looking to make a play, going for Yarborough, and the pass, well, overthrown, incomplete. Yarborough took it to the inside. That pass came to the outside. We check with Mike Gleason, Sports Center.
Out in practice a few weeks ago, and he was indignant when they came over and tried to pick him up. He, get your hands off of me, and wow, Joe Paul, you got to get out of the way.
2nd down. Over the middle, Herbert's got it, and he squirms for a 1st down to the 47-yard line. Remember, a gain of 11 there. Remember what Pat Fitzgerald said. We know from that Michigan State game that we can compete on this level, that we can compete in Big Ten games. What we have to learn is how to finish. And that's what this 2nd half is all about for Northwestern.
You're right, and sometimes, Wayne, finishing is you have to overcome those little hurdles. Just that 15 yards they lost on that personal foul. Then how do you respond with the young team?
1st down, football just short of the Northwestern 47. Sutton into Iowa territory to the 49-yard line. Matt Kroll was there along with Ryan Bain. Today's 1st and 10 line brought to you by Titan Technology Partners. Go to s2v.com to learn more about how Titan makes IT right. Football just across the midfield marker for Northwestern. Their lead cut in half. 14-7 Wildcats. Sutton bouncing it to the outside. Got a nice block around the right end. Boy, I tell you what, Joe Tripodi did a nice job sealing that play, and Tyrell Sutton accelerated for 13 yards of the first down before Mike Klinkenborg could bring him down.
This is exactly why Norm Parker does not want to bring pressure. That was one of the few times today that he brought an extra guy, the linebacker off the opposite side. But when you have a back like Sutton, Wayne, he can take advantage. If you don't get him early in the backfield, he can absolutely gash a blitz like that.
Norm hates these spread offenses.
You're right.
You know, he thinks they ought to be illegal.
He makes no bones about it, does he?
From his standpoint today, I can see why. Northwestern running effectively out of the spread. Gain of a couple of yards. And again, Iowa came in, if you take a look at it, the rushing defense, giving up 123 yards a game, 3.3 per rushing attempt. That ranked 5th, middle of the pack in the Big Ten. Iowa normally better against the run than that, but they've had a lot of injuries, a lot of people playing injured up front of their defensive line this season. Third quarter comes to a close. Certainly it's a ball game. Northwestern trying to extend its lead. They're on the drive when we come back for the fourth. Hawkeyes are 0-3 when trailing after 3 quarters this season, so they'll have to buck that trend to get a win and maintain what has been a home field advantage here at Kinnick Stadium. 27-2. How about those losses? Marquee losses, Michigan and Ohio State. Brewer, a quarterback, on the reverse. He wanted to throw it. Madison angled him out of bounds. Nobody open. I think he really wanted to go deep downfield to Herbert, who was pretty well covered near the goal line, Kelly, by the safety Marcus Pascal.
Yeah, the double reverse that certainly was meant to be a pass, as you've said, Wayne. But the good thing is it's a quarterback doing it, Brewer, and he makes a good quarterback decision in the end not to throw that football.
Loss of 1, Northwestern. 5 of 10 on third down conversions. Iowa very late in getting its defensive personnel in. Here's the snap to Bachér. He's hit and sacked. Klinkenborg on the blitz. Back near the 45-yard line. First sack of the afternoon for the Iowa defense. Iowa came in ranked 6th in the Big Ten in sacks with 18. But Klinkenborg gets a big one here. Judicious use of the blitz, and boy, it looked like a fire drill out there. They were late in getting their personnel on the field.
Maybe Norm Parker's onto something. Late substitution.
And I wonder if Klinkenborg just freelanced off of that. Archide's kick caught by Dominique Douglas, and here comes the freshman across the 15 out near the 20-yard line. Opening minute, fourth quarter. Iowa football when we come back. Northwestern leads by 7. Time now for our Wild Fan Cam, brought to you by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feel your wild side. Wayne Larrabee, Kelly Stauffer, and friends back in Iowa City. First down for the Hawkeyes from the 20. Drew Tate, quick throw to the flank. And that's the freshman Dominique Douglas for a gain of about 5. Right back to Sports Center U for an up. So Michigan continuing, trying not to look ahead to Ohio State in a couple of weeks. Douglas 5 catches, 63 yards for Iowa. Hawkeyes are second down at about 5. Breaking through, first down and then some, and that is Albert Young, who's back in the ball game. A gain of 11 yards. Brendan Smith brought him down. The Hawkeyes have it first down to the Iowa 36-yard line.
That was an attitude run right there. Not only up front by the offensive line, but Albert Young just getting after it with quick feet and a purpose behind this. He's running hard, and right there at the end he sends a message. I'm in here carrying the football, and we're going to win this football game. We'll see what happens.
First and 10. Young again. Barreling across the 40. Pickup of about 5, maybe 6 yards. Reggie McPherson on the stop. Suzuki College Way of Life, and the feature this week, Iowa's Mike Elgin, Hawkeye Leadership Council 2005, first team academic All-America, semifinalist for the 2006 Dratty Trophy, top academic award in college football. Mike Elgin's job right now is snap the football to Drew Tate. Second down for the Hawkeyes, about 4 yards to go. And Tate needs a timeout. Second timeout taken by the Hawkeyes in this second half. That may factor as this one tightens up down the stretch. Outside the stadium, the statue of the man for whom this stadium is named, Niall Kinnick, legendary Iowa Hawkeye, Heisman Trophy winner. Each side has 2 timeouts remaining. I was incorrect in stating that Iowa had used 2. Northwestern called a timeout earlier in the second half, so each side with 2 timeouts remaining. Second down for Iowa. Albert Young trying to get around the end, and good pursuit by that Northwestern defense denies him the first down. It is a gain of 3 yards to the 45, and it will leave a 3rd down and 1 coming up for Iowa. Adam Hahn producing and pursuing from that defensive tackle spot.
Wayne, this is what Iowa hasn't been able to do today. Albert Young's getting it going a little bit right now, but they like to run the football and then play action pass over the top for their big plays.
Iowa 4 of 8 on 3rd downs. Young got it across the 45, just enough for the first down. To the 47 or 48-yard line, Smith made the stop for Northwestern.
And be alert for that play action as Iowa's getting lathered up just a little bit on the offensive line, and Young is running it well. This is generally where there's a play action. Kid O'Keefe likes the play action. Drew Tate does a nice job with it.
Iowa's been plagued by 2 turnovers here today. Northwestern has had 2 as well. Hawkeyes knocking on the Wildcat territorial door, the 48-yard line of Northwestern. Young hit in the backfield. Boy, judicious use of the blitz. Deontay Battle straight up the gut into the backfield. He makes the tackle back near the 45, loss of at least 3.
There are 2 uses for the blitz. If you know it's a passing down, you get after the quarterback, but there's also run blitzes. Battle is that guy that's a little bit quicker than the tight end Moyaki could block inside. It's a quick penetration by the quick defensive back.
Second down and 13. Tate lets it go, and he's got Chandler, the big tight end, inside Northwestern territory, close to the 47-yard line, gain of 9. Battle, the man who made the tackle for the Wildcats with help from McPherson. So it's 3rd down now for the Iowa Hawkeyes. 3rd and 4 for Iowa.
What Northwestern has been doing is going with 3 down linemen like they are right here, and generally covering with 8 guys and trying to make Tate and his receivers find a void and make a nice play.
Young is the lone setback. Quick count, they go to Albert Young. He's got some running room for a first down and a good determined finish. Gets yardage inside the 40 to the 39-yard line. Check in with Mike Gleason, Sports Center U Update. Look too happy, does he?
Wow, that's a tough sight to see, quite frankly.
Tate on first down. Oh, got a good block from Albert Young. Tate's on his own. And he may have lost a yard. That ball came loose, but I believe the officials had whistled it dead. The linesman came over to make the mark. So Tate hit by Eddie Simpson and Malcolm Arrington. And he may have lost a half yard in that play.
Well, that was the play action we've been waiting for on first down. It's been a heavy rundown for Iowa recently. Douglas was open early, but just about the time Tate needed to deliver that football, he had to get out of the pocket.
Second down and 10. Football at the 39-yard line of Northwestern. Time beginning to become a factor here in this 4th quarter. We're inside of 10 minutes to go. Young cuts it back through the white picket fence of Northwestern defenders, and he got about a yard. The one thing the Wildcats are doing, they're making the Hawkeyes work for it. Nothing has come easy.
And they'll make them work for it right here on 3rd and relatively long, is where Northwestern has had the upper hand.
game situation here? Is this 2-down territory?
I think it is, based on the way your offense has been struggling to do anything. Now it's 4-down linemen by Northwestern. Sort out the look. They'll probably just bring 4 and drop 7 into coverage.
2 receivers at the top of your screen. 11th play of the drive for the Hawkeyes. Tate going deep, and the pass overthrown intended for Grigsby. Pretty good coverage out there for the Northwestern Wildcats. And the pass sails incomplete. Marquise Cole was back there along with Brendan Smith. And it's not 4-down territory, apparently, not for Kirk Ferentz yet. They bring the punting unit in. That's Tate's first incomplete pass this half. He's 8 of 9 passing. But they're going to try to pin the Wildcats deep. Hope the defense can make a play and get the offense good field position. Inside of 9 minutes to go in the game. Fenstermaker's punt carries into the end zone. So they fail to pin the Wildcats. The football comes out to the 20, and the Bluebirds are out in force here in Iowa City. A little over 8 minutes to go in this one. Pat Fitzgerald and company trying to hang on. Take a look at the Polaris out-of-town scoreboard. Penn State still trailing by 10 now in the 4th quarter up in Madison. And Joe Paw has been taken from that game, suffered a leg injury. Michigan all over Ball State now, as you would expect. Indiana trying to come back on Minnesota. Time becoming a factor there. And later on, Illinois plays host to #1 Ohio State. Last Iowa drive, 11 plays, 42 yards, took 5 minutes and 58 seconds off the clock. No score. First down for Tyrell Sutton, running through a gaping hole in the middle of the Iowa defense. 1st and 10 on a gain of 13 yards. Edmund Miles made the tackle.
It's become a nice little play in the second half for Northwestern. Kind of a trap. They pull a guard, and the misdirection, as much misdirection as you can get out of the spread option set that you possibly can.
The Northwestern Wildcats trying to learn how to win, and that is a process for a program that is building. Trying to figure out how to win a football game, how to close a game. It's tough to do sometimes. Iowa Hawkeyes, if they want a New Year's Day bowl, they must rebound and win today to keep that hope alive. Sutton for about 5 yards to the 37-yard line. Miguel Merrick made the tackle. So there are a couple of subplots going on here in Iowa City.
Well, right now, one of the parts of winning is little things like this. Your quarterback, time management. The play clock needs to go down. He snapped the ball, Bachér did, with about 7 seconds. That needs to go down to about 2. Those 5-second increments add up quickly down the stretch.
Play clock, right-hand corner of your screen there. Got it off just in time, down around 2. Tyrell Sutton barreling forward, got what he could out to the 41-yard line. That's a pickup of about 3. We'll leave a 3rd down and 1 coming up. Pat Fitzgerald again, harken back to what he said after the Michigan State game. Said, #1, it was the toughest loss he had ever been involved in as a player or a coach. But #2, he said, we learned that day that we could play. We were up 38-3. We know we can play on this level. Now, got to learn how to finish it.
You're right. You put that experience in the bank, and it's times like this that you need to draw on that account. But 3rd and 1 is hard in a shotgun spread option. The ball's so far off the line of scrimmage.
Sutton breaks free. He's got a first down and a whole lot more into Iowa territory to the 47-yard line of the Hawkeyes. Marcus Pascal made the tackle. 12-yard gain. And Tyrell Sutton has been a big man in Northwestern plans here in the second half.
Northwestern doing a great job up front against a worn-out defensive line from Iowa. And you can see it right there on that play. A great fit by Northwestern up front.
How about Sutton? 100-yard games today, 126. Last season he had 6 of those, just 2 this season. 1st and 10. Sutton, sliver of an opening there, broke one arm tackle and then is clobbered by Klinkenborg and Pascal. The linebacker and the safety respectively, they are hitters. Gain of a couple of yards, but again, time now a factor. We're inside of 5.5 minutes to go in this game.
And if you're Garrett McGee, you want to take your time calling the play and really guide your young quarterback to getting that play clock down to next to nothing before you snap the football.
Remember, each side has 2 timeouts remaining. C.J. Bachér, the sophomore out of Sacramento, California, Jesuit High School. Quick throw into the flat. And Sutton makes a play down the sidelines. Takes a hit out of bounds, but he's got a first down inside the 35 of the Iowa 34-yard line. Charles Godfrey angled him out. 11-yard gain. Safe throw for the quarterback.
Yeah, the safe throw. Remember the throw he didn't make on that interception by Godfrey was that exact one right there. He forced the ball down the field. That time he did exactly what he should. Throw the ball to the back in the flat. That's what the defense isn't covering.
So Pat Fitzgerald paces anxiously. And the Iowa defensive front, bruised and battered, injury riddled. And the Wildcats are pounding away in this fourth quarter. Blitz coming up the middle. Jordan, big hole to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown! 34-yard touchdown run, and that might be the dagger in this one.
That was another play where Norm Parker, the defensive coordinator from Iowa, blitzes. And this is what happens when you don't get to the ball carrier on the blitz. It's a home run. That's why Norm Parker doesn't like to bring extras.
Fourth rushing touchdown for Jordan. The extra point by Howells is good. So Tyrell Jordan, the fifth-year senior out of Clarkston, Georgia, scores the touchdown that gives Northwestern a 21-7 lead. The Heisman Trophy awarded to Niall Kinnick. We're at Kinnick Stadium, University of Iowa. It's quiet here. 7-play, 80-yard drive. What was so impressive was the work done by the offensive line of the Wildcats up front. They dominated the Iowa front. They were blowing holes through that Iowa defensive front. 7 plays, 80 yards. Howell's going to squib this one. Damian Sims. Cuts it back. Sims spinning across the 30-yard line. Got a first down up near the 32. Dan Dixon made the tackle for Northwestern. 24-yard return, and much work to be done now by the Hawkeyes, who are really up against it.
Isn't that amazing? Northwestern, you know, most offensive categories in the Big Ten, they're last. But that's evidence of how worn out, especially the defensive front from Iowa is, and a nice job of Northwestern taking full advantage of it.
Drew Tate, young, and has a couple of blockers. Gets out to the 40-yard line on a gain of 8 yards. Northwestern's done a good job of coverage downfield, so Drew Tate went to the screen. Kevin Mims recovered from the defensive line to make the tackle. Iowa goes without a huddle. Lots of time for Tate. Can't find a receiver. Can't buy a receiver. Now, overshot Douglas, incomplete. He was pretty well covered by another freshman, McManus. It's been a good battle today. Dominic Douglas and McManus.
Two talented guys that the Big Ten is going to get a lot of in the next 2 or 3 years. But Northwestern has done a tremendous job in coverage. When Tate has had a lot of time, he still can't find anyone down the field.
Iowa 6 of 11 on third down conversions, facing third down and about 3. Football, 39-yard line, Hawkeye territory. Tate slips, able to shake loose, gets it away. Nice change of direction. Dominic Douglas has a first down to the 46-yard line. Demetrius Eaton made the stop. Douglas' 6th catch. That ties his career best.
And you almost wonder if Iowa needed to go to this a little bit sooner to try to get some life in this offense that has been absolutely lifeless.
Inside of 4 minutes to go for the game. Tate hesitated, now goes deep over the middle. Oh, and a beautiful play made by McPherson. He nearly picked it off. That pass intended for Andy Brodell down the seam, and he had the coverage beat.
I think back to how this season started is Iowa looking for some wide receivers that can make plays. You can see the break by McPherson on the late throw over the middle by Tate, but You know, Wayne, I don't see a lot of receivers on the field right now that really put fear into the defense. Douglas did that some during the year, but I'm not seeing it this afternoon.
Tate 17 to 25, 139 yards and an interception. Tate looking to make a play, goes short. Douglas trying to spin his way to a first down, is brought down short. He's at the 46-yard line of Northwestern, gain of 8 yards. It'll be a third down coming up at 2 yards to go. Deontay Battle, the cornerback, on the tackle. Third down for the Hawkeyes. Tate, penalty markers are down. Pass play nearly intercepted again. He was trying to thread the needle to Chandler. Chandler was pretty well covered. Looked like he had double coverage on him. He had Brad Phillips and Sherrick McManus.
The holding, as you talked about the flag, I think is going to be on Dace Richardson, who's been banged up coming into this game, and he's been slow off the ball a few times and had a hard time with that edge rusher on this afternoon.
Iowa has won 27 of its last 29 home games.
Holding, 78, offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat third down.
Dace Richardson is that guy who is coming back from an injury, and he's just slow off the ball. The edge rusher comes, and he's just a step behind. When an offensive lineman is a step behind, your natural tendency is to just grab a handful of jersey and hog tie him.
Third down and about 12. Tate steps up and throws. Off the hands of Brodell, intercepted by McPherson, out of bounds at the Northwestern 34-yard line. Second interception of the day. Third turnover by the Hawkeye offense. And Northwestern is learning how to close a game.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. We've had them a couple times this year where they couldn't close the deal. Tate finding the right guy, and then Brodell doesn't bail out his veteran quarterback on the end. That ball is actually a little bit wide. But we talked about Northwestern needing to be opportunistic. When a ball's in the air, Northwestern has to come down with the majority of them. They've done that today.
First and 10 for the Wildcats at the 35. Once again, it's Tyrell Sutton having a big day here this afternoon. Gain of about 6. The Northwestern running attack. Sutton and Jordan. The Rells, Tyrell, and Tyrell Jordan. Game-changing performance brought to you by Pontiac. And it was Tyrell Jordan on this touchdown run that put Northwestern on top, 20-7. The extra point made it 21-7, and that's where we are right now. Timeout taken by the Hawkeyes. They have 1 remaining. Really, the Wildcats celebrates this one. You know, you look at programs that are developing, and this one certainly a lot of young people on this Northwestern roster for Pat Fitzgerald and company. And again, you go back to the point. In Big Ten play, it's all totally different than it is in non-conference. Learning how to win in this league on this level, that's difficult to do for a young team. And I got a feeling the Wildcats here today really grew up. But the thing that has impressed me about this Northwestern program, they come off that devastating loss at home to Michigan State. They go to Michigan and play Michigan tooth and nail. It took 5 turnovers by Northwestern for Michigan to get that win. And here today, Northwestern has been much the better in this ball game throughout for the most part.
And is really in the process of winning this game the way Iowa usually wins games, being technically and fundamentally sound and executing much better than their opponent.
Sutton again. First down to the 47-yard line. You mentioned it a couple of times. That Iowa defense, especially the front 4, they look worn.
Oh, absolutely. And every time that you could see Norm Parker try to put his foot to the pedal and press on the gas a little bit, he got no response out of his guys. His defensive line in particular just absolutely hacked up.
Timeout remaining, coming up on 2 minutes left to go in the game. What a huge win for Pat Fitzgerald in this Northwestern program. Sutton running hard. Determined run. Delivering the blows and is shoved back, and they hold up the action. A gain on that play of about 7 yards.
You know, a lot of people will look at this score and say absolutely one of the most surprising wins of the season. And on one hand, you would be right. But on the other hand, Iowa knew what they were getting into. They saw this Northwestern team playing extremely hard on tape, and they knew they were going to have their hands full, particularly in the physical condition that Iowa was in.
Something else to be pointed out, again, I mentioned Iowa. 27 of its last 29 home games they've won. Their losses were in overtime last year to Michigan and earlier this year to #1 Ohio State here. It's not easy to beat Iowa in Iowa City anytime or for anyone. The Liberty Mutual play of the game, well, it was the last play for the Iowa Hawkeye offense to date. This one here off the hands of Andy Brodell and McPherson. Johnny on the spot on the interception.
Well, Wayne, I think that's the key is being in the right place and then making the play. It's not just finishing games, but finishing games is comprised of finishing a lot of plays in between. And McPherson's play right there is a great example of it.
Sutton not going to go very far here. Did well to get back to the line of scrimmage. Matt Kroll came over to make the stop. King and Kroll were forces inside on this Iowa defensive line earlier this season. But again, it's been a long campaign.
Well, I was used to rotating about 7 guys through that defensive line, which means you can stay fresh and be productive from the first second to the last. And we've seen this defensive line be out of gas really early on in the first quarter.
3rd down for Northwestern. Hawkeyes are out of timeouts. Sutton bouncing to the outside, and he's got it. This ball game, from Iowa standpoint, out of reach. Down to the 25-yard line. Tyrell Sutton puts an exclamation point on this one for the Northwestern Wildcats. 21-yard ramble. Miguel Merrick made the tackle. Take a look at the Cooper Tire Defensive Player of the Game, brought to you by Cooper Tires. Don't give up a thing. Deontay Battle, 10 tackles downfield, including a big play. He blew up a running play by the Hawkeyes out of blitz. Sutton now 167 rushing yards on 28 attempts. Northwestern in the victory formation. They've learned how to win. This young team under first-year head coach Pat Fitzgerald, they've learned how to win in the Big Ten, and not only win in the Big Ten, but win in Iowa City, where rarely does a visitor gain the advantage here. Iowa powerless to stop the clock, and the time melting away. Take a look at this, and what a second half. Remember, he's caught 4 passes, so he's had 32 touches, if I'm doing my math right. C.J. Bachér drops to a knee. Less than 3 weeks after blowing the biggest lead ever in Division 1A football, falling to Michigan State at home, losing a 35-point lead, the Northwestern Wildcats have come to Iowa City and defeated the Hawkeyes in convincing fashion, 21-7. Let's check in with Mike Gleason and John Cooper back in the studio.
All right, thanks a lot, Wayne. 21-7, along with Coach John Cooper, Steve Israel, Mike Gleason here. Welcome to the Phillips 66 postgame report. And Iowa needed that victory. I guess if there's any coach in America, Kirk Ferentz would probably handle a loss with more class than most, but he's got to be upset.
No, absolutely no question about it. 2 things happened in this ballgame. Number one, Iowa didn't show up. That was not the Iowa team that I expected to see come out there and play, particularly at home this afternoon. But give credit to Northwestern. Pat Fitzgerald had his football team ready to play. They played hard. Anytime you're running back and rush for, 160 yards, you got a chance to beat anybody you play.
You're right. With the offense that Northwestern has, you always have to come and be prepared against the Wildcats. And Iowa simply didn't show up. Tate, the quarterback, was back in the game today. Albert Young, their senior leader at the running tailback position, didn't make enough plays. That offense is very explosive for the Wildcats, and you have to come ready to play, and they simply didn't show up.
You know, as Coach and I were talking at halftime about the fact that maybe record-wise you wouldn't know it, but the Wildcats have no quit. They fight every game. Have you ever been on a football team that you just were outmatched talent-wise, but you showed up week in and week out and gave it your best?
Well, Mike, you said they fight every game. Are you also talking about that big-time blowout they had that they gave up and lost? But, yeah. And on the football team, especially as a defensive player, you have to continue to always fight and fight. And what comes to mind for me is a game we played back in 1988 in Morgantown, West Virginia. We're down by, I believe, 28 points. We fought. We just kept fighting and fighting. We didn't win the game, but it was a tie. And when you have that type of fight on your team as a coach, and you can agree with this, Coach, is something about your team that you know you got when a team won't give up.
The amazing thing about that Northwestern football team, you got to remember, 2 weeks ago, they gave up. I mean, that's the biggest comeback in history of college football. When Michigan State came back and beat them, they were up 30-something points. For them to come back and keep fighting like they were doing today, like playing hard, not fighting, but playing hard. It's a tribute to that football team.
So Northwestern is somewhat of a shocker in Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. Now this.
Welcome back to Iowa. A huge win for the Northwestern Wildcats on the road. They defeat the Iowa Hawkeyes 21-7, and we're pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Northwestern Wildcats, Pat Fitzgerald. Pat, this is your first year, this program, a lot of young players of this program. You mentioned 2 weeks ago when you were on the wrong end of the greatest comeback in Division I history. You mentioned that we learned something there. We learned that we could compete on this level. Now we have to learn how to close a game, and you did that today.
Well, I couldn't be more proud of my guys, Wayne, and they've stuck together. There isn't a football team in America that's gone through more adversity than we have, and I couldn't be more proud of our players, especially our seniors, and our captains have just done a great job leading our players. We keep working each week to get better, and we talked about focus and finish in the locker room at halftime, and we went out there and did that today, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
How about your running back, Tyrell Sutton? My goodness, did he carry the mail in the second half?
Yeah, he sure did, and he couldn't do it alone. Our offensive line probably played their best game of the year, and Tyrell is a special player, and what a great game for him and a great game for our program.
You know, getting a look at him, and your offensive line, we were so impressed with the kind of production, and I thought it was pretty much across the board through most of the day. They did a great job of opening some holes for this great running back.
Well, he is a great talent. You know, he's one of the most unselfish guys you can ever be around. He just wants to make a difference, and he wants to try to help our team win, and that's what he did today.
Well, Coach, we've had the first-hand experience of seeing how your team is maturing. As a player, you had those moments where you said, you know, are we on to something here? And now as a coach, can you recognize those moments as well?
Well, I really think that we've played pretty good football for 10 of the last 12 quarters, and that gives us a chance to win. We finally put in Big Ten play 4 quarters of Northwestern football together, and if we can continue to do that, we understand the opportunity we have next week, and we'll get back to work. But this is a great monkey off our back to get the first Big Ten win, and I couldn't be more proud of our players and our staff.
And to get it in Iowa City, my goodness, what a big moment that is. Very few visitors come in here and come out with a win, but you did today. Congratulations, Coach. All the best.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Coach Pat Fitzgerald of the Northwestern Wildcats. They win here today over the Iowa Hawkeyes and win convincingly 21-7, and they dominated at the line of scrimmage, which is where the Hawkeyes usually win the ball game.
And we saw today his players beginning to believe what he's been saying. He's very optimistic, and his players are starting to play exactly that same way.
Special thanks to our statistician Jeff Nelson, our producer Brian Carter, our director Tim Sutton. Pat Fitzgerald and the Northwestern Wildcats win it here today in Iowa City. First home loss for the Hawkeyes in Iowa City since Kirk Ferentz' first year as head coach. First loss at Iowa City in the month of November since Ferentz' first year. For Kelly Stauffer and our entire ESPN Plus crew, this is Wayne Larrabee. This has been a presentation of ESPN Regional Television, the worldwide leader in collegiate sports. So long from Iowa City.